Ground story this evening. 90 minutes from now, President Obama will address the nation from the Oval Office to announce an end to combat operations in Iraq. White House Press Secretary Robert Gibbs, no friend of the professional left, went on Fox and Friends this morning to preview the speech. Gretchen Carlson hammered Gibbs on one question: will President Obama give former President Bush credit?
Will President Obama recognize the success of the surge put in place by President Bush tonight? No political games here. Will President Obama credit President Bush tonight in his speech for the success in Iraq? Will President Obama thank President Bush tonight? Will he credit President Bush tonight
Gretchen,
for the success of the surge? Will he credit President Bush tonight?
Gretchen, I don't know whether this is you actually interviewing me or just a tape of you looping the same question over and over again.
This is exactly why Democrats shouldn't even be wasting their time going on over at Fox. They're on a mission to pressure President Obama to give Bush credit for the surge. Look, I don't know about you folks, but I hate old news, but I just cannot let this one go unanswered. I want President Obama to look into the camera tonight and explain that we wouldn't have been in this mess if it wasn't for W. Bush led America into our first preemptive war on a lie cooked up down in Texas. He wasted time, money, and intelligent resources on a country that had nothing to do with 9/11 to settle a score for his daddy. You know, in the meantime, where's Osama bin Laden? He's still out there, and the war in Afghanistan, no end in sight. Thanks, Bush. President Obama, don't listen to these hate merchants out there on Fox. George Bush doesn't deserve any kind of credit for Iraq. He deserves the blame. And I'm not so sure that some of his folks shouldn't be brought up on charges. But that's just my opinion. And it just seems to me that there's so many Americans out there that are thinking, oh gosh, this war of choice was a success. $748 billion. We're going to go north of $1 trillion. I got Americans behind me here tonight in New Orleans that would like a piece of that change. But of course, let's remember, well, this isn't paid for by the taxpayers. Guess what? No one told us about what it was really going to cost in Iraq. In fact, it was Mr. Wolfowitz who told us that Iraqi oil was going to be paying for all of this. Mr. President, how about telling them you're going to send them a bill tonight and we'll take in exchange for oil? That would be the heartless thing to do. Because you see, there are a lot of Iraqis who have been run out of their country because of what we've done. There are a lot of refugees around the world because we decided to invade Iraq. And here's Fox saying that we've got to give Bush and Cheney credit. Cut me some slack on this one, will you? We can't revise history. The facts are the facts. We should have never been in that hellhole. Joining me now is award-winning filmmaker Robert Greenwald of Brave New Films. Robert directed and produced, uncovered the whole truth about the Iraq War. Robert, like me, I know you've got a mouthful to say about this, but asking President Obama to admit that Bush did the right thing is It's a full hour of psycho talk is what it is. Your thoughts on all of this? You're the journalist. You were there.
Well, I guess disgusting comes into mind, and outrageous and infuriating. I'd like them to talk to the 4,416 Americans who were killed over there, to the hundreds of thousands of Iraqis who were killed, and to say nothing of, as you said, Ed, the $748 billion that we spent. That does not define success. That defines disaster. And for the money we spent on the Iraq War, we could build, and I know you're down in New Orleans at one right now, Ed, 1 million community health care centers around this country.
Well, it's just amazing. I think you take a look at what has happened in Iraq. It was a war of choice. We were 45 minutes away from a mushroom cloud. We all remember that rhetoric. We have to fight them over there so we don't fight them over here. And there's no proof that we're any safer today because of what we've done. And so here we are. Are we going to get this onslaught of how the Republicans are supposed to get credit for Iraq? What do you think politically?
Yeah, well, we've seen it, right? I mean, we saw the clip that you showed from Fox News, the Republican Party's mouthpiece, and that's going to be the line over and over again. And I'm with you, Ed. I have no idea why Democrats would continue to appear on Fox News, because remember, this is the organization that just gave $1 million to the Republican Governors Association. So every time a Democrat goes on Fox, it's like putting money into the pocket of the Republican Party. And it mystifies me why intelligent men and women would continue to do that.
Here's Mr. Boehner. He says some leaders who opposed, criticized, and fought tooth and nail to stop the surge strategy now proudly claim credit for the results. Today we mark not the defeat those voices anticipated, but progress. What's your response to that, and your response to those who say that the surge made this all happen?
Well, my response would be that the war, in any way you measure it, is a complete and total disaster. If you sat down 1,000 people today and say, do you want to go to war? Do you want to lose 4,416 American lives? Do you want to spend these billions of dollars? And do you want to come out of it no safer? And in fact, Ed, as you well know, you can make a very strong argument, well, less safe, because the war has fundamentally served as a recruiting organization for terrorists. And if we took that same $748 billion, listen to this, we could put 3 million Americans to work. And you know, the war is supposedly over, Ed, right? So just this year alone, with the war over, if we took that same money, we could pay for every single high school graduate in this country to have 2 free years of university education. That's staggering. And damn it, I don't say any way that you can define that as a success.
Gutting our infrastructure. What are we leaving for the next generation? I tell you, that's what it's all about. Robert Greenwald, always a pleasure. Great to have you with us tonight. You continue to do fabulous work for the country. I appreciate it so much.